them alone. No, I want to break through, but you're very weak. Oh. Hi everybody, my name is Axel, and I'm gonna show you everything you will need to play Takkure. It's a cyberpunk rugby game for two people created by Ramper Design, so let's go!
Takkure is the evolution of 21st century rugby. A sport adapted to the scarce space in the megacities. Quick, fast-paced, violent, where the players are media stars, adored as heroes.
In Takkure, two teams of 4 players are faced on the pitch following a system of movement in inches, faced rolls with 12 faced dice and cards with special skills, in order to score more tries than the other team before the end of the match. Let's throw now a quick view to the player cards, where we can find every characteristic and ability for our star players. In addition of the name, a beautiful illustration and the diameter in millimeters of the base, the most important thing we can find is the symbol on the top right corner. That tells us the position where you can line up the player. It's wing, scrum half, full back and forward. A team should have always a player on each of these roles. Numbers on the left side of the card are the characteristics of the players. The first is the movement in inches, with 2 values. The first one is when we are attacking, and the second one is used when we are defending. The second one is the ball control, also with 2 values. The first one is used when passing or picking the ball from the ground or for the hands of a player from our team. And the second one is mainly used for trying to score a try. The third one, represented with a fist, is the strength value. This is used mainly for tackling or breaking through. The lining are the reflexes, mainly used for dodging or avoiding beating the dust when failing a tackle. The one with the brain is the intelligence, and the last 2 are the protection and the body. This one is the number of wounds you can get before being injured. Finally, the players also have skills by position and its own special skills. The player cards go on the coach board. Here we have place for the card of the players, the ball, the fatigue tokens, the activation tokens, and the rest of the tokens. In Takkure, we always must follow basic rugby rules, and these are: no passes forward, only it's allowed to tackle the ball carrier, and once the ball carrier is tackled and grounded, it can't stand up while carrying the ball. In order to perform actions like pass or dodge or tackling, we will roll 12 face dice, looking for a value equal or less than the characteristic value of our player involved in the action. If there are faced actions between the attacker and the defender, like a dodge against a tackle, both will roll a dice, looking for the higher value, but not overpassing the characteristic value of the player that is needed for that action. Remember, the 1 is always a critical hit and the 12 is a fumble. Also, I would like to add that there are special abilities of the players and special cards that modify the value we need for passing the roll or add dices to the roll, which gives us better chances to succeed in the roll and beat the opponent. A match in Takkure has 2 half times, and these are tracked in a special way using what is called the time dashboard. This has 2 columns, one for each team, and each one has 5 different times. Each time the token of the attacker is flipped, it gives to that team 4 activation tokens, which are used to activate the players and perform actions. If the attacker has spent its 4 tokens and it is still the ball carrier, we will move down both tokens and we will give another 4 activation tokens to the same team. This will keep on going until the end of the halftime or until the defender will get the ball. In that case, we will flip the other time token, and that other team will get 4 activation tokens. And now let's move to the core part of the game. The activation steps we must always follow in order to activate our players. These are the attacker's first action, the defense reactions, the execution of the movement of the attacker's second action, measurements and dice rolls, and finally the token removal. As a first action, the attacker can declare a move action, placing the movement tokens on the board and showing the intended path he wants to do with that activated player. In this step, we will not move that player, we will wait until step 3. We can also stand up as an action. This is just meaning that we remove a ground token from him. Remember, if you're the ball carrier, you can't stand up. The third option is performing a pass from the ground. This action has a limitation of 8 inches in the distance and applies these modifiers to the ball control of the player. As a defender reaction, each defender can perform one of the following actions. The first is pressure, allowing to move the defensive movement value, remember the second one did the card, and creating a 2 inches zone around him that will add a value of -1 to any action of the attacker involved inside that zone. A defender can also try to steal the ball. This allows the defensive movement and performing the action, applying different mods depending on the situation. +4 if the ball is on the ground, 0 if the ball is in the hands of the ball carrier, and -2 if the ball is in the air. A tackle is our option to stop the ball carrier. It allows defensive movement, and in case we get to the ball carrier path, we will perform a tackle. Care, because if we fail, we will roll the reflexes in order to stay standing. We can also stand from the ground as a defender. Just remove one ground token. Finally, rest. This allows us to remove an inactive fatigue token from the player or flip an active one if there are none inactive. After every defender reaction declaration, the activated player will perform the intended movement, trying to reach the green token using his whole value of movement. He can also make a turn on the orange token if he declared that in the first step. After executing the movement of the player, it's time to choose the second attacker's action. Let's see the several different options we have here. The first one is moving again, this time going in any direction we want without placing any kind of token. The second one is making a pass to a colleague behind the ball carrier line and applying every modifier because of distance and pressures it may affect. The third one is dodging, using his reflexes. If the dodge is successful, you can move the player 2 inches in any direction. This is useful to face opponent tackles, for example. Another good option to face tackles is breaking through, using our strength. This allows us to hit the opponent, and in case we succeed, the opponent will go grounded, so it will clear our path. We can also pick up the ball from the ground or for the hands of a teammate, applying a +4 modifier to our ball control. Finally, if we have reached the in-goal zone, we can attempt to score a try. Using the second value of the ball control, you can roll trying to score, applying a -1 for each fatigue token the player has, and also taking into account the pressure zones of the defenders. If we are being tackled, this roll will be also faced, so good luck! Once every action is decided, it's time to measure the passes distances, the pressure zones, and roll the dice in order to figure out which is the outcome of the activation. After this, it is only left to remove every token from the board except from the ground tokens, which stay there in order to give us the information that players are grounded. A very important point in Takkure is the management of the fatigues. Due to the repetitive activation of the same player, or special skills or team cards, the players accumulate fatigue tokens. With the first fatigue token, the player loses what is called the training skills, identified with this symbol. With the second token, it's also allowed to move once per activation. And with the third token, it gets a -1 to the ball control, strength, reflexes, and intelligence. Care, because if it gets a fourth token, it will be injured and will be out of the game. Another way of being injured is getting the same amount of wound tokens than the body characteristic of the player. These are got after a breakthrough or a tackle if our player go to the ground. In that case, we will add the protection value to the body and we will make a roll. If the value we got is higher than that number, it will get a wound token. An injured player will have to roll in the injuries chart in order to find out the sadly outcome. Lastly, I want to add that there are also individual cards that allow special feats to our players, as well as team play cards that allow us to special tactics and activations of more than one player in order to get a bit of advantage over the defenders. Every team in Takkure has its own unique identity and play style due to the team special skills and the individual player skills itself. If you wanted to dive deeper into the game, I suggest you checking Takkure.com, where you will find every info and resource needed for free in order to start playing this awesome cyberpunk rugby game. There's also a very active community organizing regular leagues through the tabletop simulator. Check out the link inside the Takkure.com page. This is the best way of get tracking on the future events and leagues, and also a good way of looking for games. Nothing left to say. Bye.